Hello YouTube, Downtown Prepper here, and today I thought I'd put a video together showing you guys what I think are the best SHTF weapons. Now, we've all seen the similar video, 3 to 5 guns laid out, and someone making their argument to why they believe that their weapons are the best ones for WROL or Grid Has Gone Down. Now, this is essentially a very similar video with a twist, so please stick with me. Now, describing what I have decided to depend my life on, starting with the Egyptian Maddie, AKM 7.62x39. It's basically an Egyptian-made AKM, but it was made on Russian tools, on Russian machinery basically, with Russian trained staff. So it's about as close as of a AKM non-Russian variant as you can get. Moving right into the SKS. It's a Yugoslavian SKS, 7.62x39 as well. It has the muzzle brake there at the front. Also doubles as a grenade launcher. You can buy the attachment for that. It's a great SKS. True and proven. Great rifle. The old reliable Mossberg 500. 7+1 accepts 2 3/4 and 3-inch shells. It's a folding ATI stock. Pretty compact design. Sits next to my bedside along my Glock 17, which pretty much speaks for itself. 17+1 with an optional 30-round mag. And to the right of that is my PT92, my Taurus PT92, also 17+1 with an optional 30-round mag. I have a comparison on these two handguns on my channel. They're both great handguns, and if you want the specs and side by side, take a look at that on my channel. Now, moving right into why I decided to make this video. These are all great weapons, and if it came down to it, I will definitely bet my life to them. But here's the kicker. I live in the city. I live in an urban area. It's not the biggest city, but it's still 1 million+ people, and you can't really just blast off shotgun rounds in the backyard to kill squirrels without having the whole neighborhood know that A, you have weapons, and B, you obviously have resources. So it got me to thinking, what's the solution? And it got me to doing a little bit of research and a little bit of investing on an alternate way of basically providing for my family if A, I'm stuck in the city and I don't want to be noticed, and or B, all of my ammo, my thousands and thousands of rounds, well, the grid's been down for a decade now and they're all gone. So I didn't stock enough. Oops. What am I gonna do? Here's a couple other options. At the top, Thompson 50 caliber, Renegade. Now, I picked this up on Craigslist. The gentleman wanted about $60, I believe, for it. It was rusted to all heck. I mean, the hammer was red, barrel was pitted and rusted. Had a couple loose screws. I talked him down to $50. He accepted it, and I walked away with it. Got it home, cleaned it up. I was really afraid. I took a gamble because it legitimately had a lot of rust on it, so I wasn't sure how the metal would be underneath. But once I got it cleaned up, definitely looks like the integrity has held up. The nipple is clear once I put a little bit of solvent in it. So, I mean, it looks like it's ready to shoot. Eventually, if, man, the grid goes down and we're offline for, again, decades, who knows how long it would take, and you didn't stock up enough rounds, or they ran out, or your weapons were all taken, well, this is a great option. A muzzleloader, a musket. I mean, black powder is cheap. Lead is cheap. I mean, a lot of times you can go to a mechanic shop, a tire shop, and if they have leftover lead from wheel weights or what have you, they have to pay a hazmat fee to have that stuff carted away. A lot of times they'll just give it away. Seriously, they'll just take as much as you want. Helps if you know somebody that works there. So I mean, it's a great option. Another reason why these are so great is they're basically the shotgun of yonder year. You can basically stick anything down the tube of that, as long as you have some gunpowder, and something to make a wad, a shirt, piece of paper, percussion caps. Thing will fly. So just one thing to consider. Definitely keep an eye out for black powder rifles. Plus, a lot of people, I mean, they're a great hobby. So I mean, definitely keep that in mind. Option number 2, and realistically, after thinking about it, this pellet rifle, if I'm stuck in the city, might be my primary source of getting food. It's quiet. I mean, very quiet. Really quickly, let me... my tripod's giving me issues here. Dang thing. Technical difficulties. Anyways, now there's people outside doing construction work, and normally if that was a gunshot in the basement, that would have echoed, and there'd probably be cops here in a matter of minutes. But that was extremely quiet, as you could tell. And another thing, I found this rifle on Craigslist. I paid about $25 for it. The reason I bought it is because I had the same one growing up, and I can't tell you how many dozens of birds, squirrels, and rabbits I took down with it. When I was younger and I was a little ruffian, little rebel without a cause, I definitely regret it growing up. I mean, no one should kill animals just for fun. If I caught my kid doing that, I'd probably beat the crap out of him. But, you know, everybody's young at one point. Anyways, from experience, this thing is very, very powerful. It's a Crossman. I believe it's rated at 1,000 plus feet per second. Shoots the .77 pellet, which leads me to my next point, and that is pellets are cheap. 300 costs $2.97. Essentially $1 per 100. Now, in theory, that could be $1 per squirrel. I mean, a penny per squirrel, a penny per bird, a penny per meal, essentially. The more you buy, the cheaper it gets. So, another thing to consider, you can stock up on 5,000 pellets for essentially about $40. That's an awesome deal. I have $25 invested in the air rifle, because when I got it, it doesn't have a front sight, doesn't have a back sight, and the scope you couldn't see through. The cylinder part was loose, it was coming off. Got it home, found out there was some screws down here, tightened those up. I took the scope off, stripped it down, and although it's like a $10 scope, I cleaned it up and it works fine now. Oiled it, cleaned it, scrubbed it down, and the thing shoots awesome. Awesome. I'm very happy with the buy. So essentially, for under $100, I have 2 rifles. Obviously, I have to invest a little bit more money into the muzzleloader, but man, I mean, that's a great deal. They're cheap, and essentially for the less than the price of the ammo up there, I have what essentially could be my, saving grace at the end of days, once all that other stuff is gone. So definitely take these into consideration. Next, sling weapons. Slingshots. Everybody played with a slingshot growing up. Unless you were sheltered. Now, slingshots are great because they're light. They're cheap. I believe I paid, it says it right there, $3.95. Not sure if it's going to focus. It says $3.95 at a thrift store for that. Bought a bunch of them for Christmas, gave them out as presents. And I bought a few for myself. Great thing about a slingshot also is that they can be modified to shoot arrows. Simply, now I don't have any arrows with me. My bows are at my bug out location. So I've taken these garden bamboo stakes, but essentially, if I can get it to, that's how this would work. I actually played around with these bamboo stakes, and I sharpened a couple of them. So I'll line up a box here in a second and see if we can get it to shoot, to show you how that works. But I'll put a link down in the description, or maybe at that corner right now, showing you a couple videos on how to A, modify the slingshot. It's a very simple process, and B, people shooting them. So there you go. Another great thing about a slingshot, ammo, readily available. Pick up a freaking rock or a marble. Get 1,000 marbles from the, hobby shop or the dollar store for, $20. Or ball bearings is what people use to actually hunt with. And they're really not that expensive either. If you look on Craigslist, you can find surplus machinery ball bearings for super cheap, selling them by the weight. So definitely one thing you cannot forget about is slingshots. Super cheap, super awesome. Could literally really save your life. All those hours of playing in the backyard with the slingshot essentially could have been you developing a life-saving skill. So might be worth to get back into that. And finally, bringing us super old school, back to the beginning, throwing weapons. The stick. Start with that one. Now, if you Google stick weapons, wooden weapons, throwing stick, you'll find dozens of stick throwing weapons throughout history. All of which, when mastered or just with practice, can become an effective way of taking down small game. Very effective way. All sorts of YouTube videos on it. Definitely do your research, but that's something to definitely look into if you are a prepper. Benefits, there's sticks freaking everywhere. I mean, you're never going to run out of sticks. I mean, they're everywhere. I found that in the basement. I had no idea I had it. They're literally everywhere. Another thing to consider is making your own throwing weapons. I found these at Goodwill, and I had no idea what they were at first, but I think they're hillbilly golf balls. The ladder golf thing. But when I saw them, they reminded me of a bola. And a bola is essentially balls on a couple of strings or leather straps that are spun and thrown at game. I think they might also be called a boladoras. But with a little bit of modification, maybe putting some screws through it, a little bit longer string, this could be a decently effective hunting weapon if you get good at it. And finally, I know this isn't a real tomahawk, but throwing blade weapons. You can get good at throwing tomahawks, axes, and they can be used to take down rabbits. Raccoons, possums. Decent, medium-sized game. You can at least stun it, injure it, and then chase it down. Definitely take, I guess you can call them off-the-wall or alternative weapons into consideration. So let me give you a final look here, guys, on what I think are the best weapons to have in an SHTF situation. You should definitely, the bottom row, again, everything on that bottom row costs under $100. So essentially for the price of the ammo on that table, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weapons that are all readily available, super cheap, and ammo is also readily available for, and is super cheap. So definitely take everything into consideration. I hope I helped some people out today. Until next time, this has been Downtown Prepper. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.